Good Morning Britain, coming up.
Today we've been given exclusive access at the Port of Dover, where I'll be going to work with those on the front line trying to stop this £100 million a year illegal trade.
We're in pursuit now around 110 miles an hour of a black Golf, because we've just had a member of the public call into base to say that they think the people who got in it had been drinking beforehand and also smoking cannabis.
So this is the item. 2 members of staff told us it categorically isn't fur, but our experts think they might be wrong.
Live from ITV Studios in London, this is Good Morning Britain.
Good morning. Our top story this morning.
They might look cute and fluffy, but as I've been finding out, these adorable puppies are being trafficked for a huge profit.
It's very similar to the drugs trade.
I've just arrived at a quarantine centre for smuggled dogs that would have been destined for the black market. Now, sadly, these dogs are worth a lot of money to these dealers, so security has to be tight. I can't even tell you whereabouts in the country I am. So we'll stop filming for a moment while we go inside.
If they hadn't come into quarantine, they would have either gone back to the country that they had come from, or worst case scenario, they would have been put to sleep.
This is so difficult because all you want to do is pick them up and give them a cuddle. Although these guys will spend Christmas behind bars, essentially, they're the lucky ones.
After a tip-off from campaigners, Good Morning Britain went undercover in 2 Oxford Street stores to see if everything is really as it seems. First stop, independent store West Side, where we find a jacket with fur trim, originally £89.99, reduced to £49.99.
Well, you can see that the fur is tapering at the end, which suggests it's real. Can I just double check with you is that real or fake?
Oh, that's not real, no.
Not real?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive, trust me. If it was real, you'd pay like 150, 200 quid for it.
We talked about fur tapering in the piece, so you can see it's quite spiky because it's going narrower at the ends.
Yeah, and this has been cut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the best way, if you really want to check that it's whether it's real or fake, you can burn some of the hairs. Don't do it in the shop, whatever you do. When you get home, burn a few of the hairs. They will smell like human or animal flesh if it's real.
It's 2 a.m. and West Midlands police are doing a drink and drug stop check when this happens. Instead of stopping, one driver has put his foot down with disastrous consequences.
It is an RTC, we've got 1 on foot.
Pumped full of adrenaline, and despite his injuries, the driver drags himself from the wreckage and attempts to escape on foot. So while we were doing the stop check, a car failed to stop and went screaming up the road. It's now been involved in a really bad collision down there, and the driver is currently on the floor and they're about to breathalyse him.
There's been a 500% rise in Brits basically coming to all-inclusives like this, sampling all the delights they have to offer and then making thousands of pounds worth of compensation claims on their return. Now, to see why this is happening, we called a number of these claims companies and were basically coached through how to make an easy and potentially bogus claim. The problem is, in the cold light of day, the reality of this is, if these claims continue and these hotels continue to lose millions of pounds, we simply won't even be invited to eat at the table anymore. It's easy to see why all-inclusive holidays are so popular, but it seems some Brits now want even more from their package deal.
Last year we received in our hotel 340 complaints about the gastric infections. Then the year before we just had 7 complaints about this.
We called a number of companies to see how easy it would be to get a claim considered.
The company I just spoke to said they wouldn't need any medical evidence for me to make a claim, just a receipt for some stomach pills from the pharmacy. And they even said they give out cash incentives if you recommend them to a friend.